Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome to the Sajda Morning Coffee Talk, where we talk about life, love, and business. Grab you some coffee, tell a friend, like and subscribe, and we'll be right back.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome to Sajda's Morning Coffee Talk. I thought the silence of that video would get your attention. You guys are probably looking like, is there sound to this? No, actually, I had a music bed under that video, and YouTube silenced it, and I just didn't have a chance to update it. But anyway, welcome. Happy Friday, y'all. I have some decaf hazelnut this morning. And I actually was excited about this cup of coffee. Man, what a week. I got to share with you all a few downloads. Before I do that, let me share with you some of the benefits of our upcoming financial trauma boot camp. And it's important, and I really want you guys to pay attention to this and understand why you should invest in this boot camp, because it's an opportunity to have an intensified focus on a couple of subjects in particular that are part of the financial devastation that is really rampant right now in our community. So I want you guys to check this out. I'm going to give you the key course takeaways. You know how when you take a workshop or a class, they say, what do you hope to get out of this? Or what are my intentions? Of course, I can't control what all you get out of it, because you may get more, you may get less, but these are my intentions. All right. So check this out. I want you to comment in the chat if you guys anticipate and mitigate the emotional impact of negative financial issues that could potentially create financial trauma. Identify whether or not your relationship with money is negatively impacted by a previously traumatic event. Learn to manage your decisions and mindset to help prevent the onset of financial trauma. Understand how to handle financially devastating events like foreclosure, how to avoid getting into a situation that threatens your property, and how to save your property if you are in pre-foreclosure or foreclosure. Navigate your way through a divorce and how to potentially avoid financial devastation to your family. You will walk away with resources to help you start, manage, and scale your business. You'll walk away with resources who can help you to avoid and prevent foreclosures. You also walk away with resources to help you avoid and navigate divorce. You will walk away knowing that you are not alone. Be a friend and tell a friend. Register today. So with that, I hope you got a little bit. Go back and study it about what you can get out of this upcoming financial trauma boot camp. We're bringing in some subject matter experts, in particular on divorce, because it is one of the top financially devastating events that impacts our community, as well as foreclosures. Foreclosures is top of that list, especially for our middle class brothers and sisters who are homeowners. And so we got a foreclosure expert, Dr. Michael C. Grayson, who's going to come in. He's going to talk to you about the mortgage industry. He's going to talk to you about what to do if you're in pre-foreclosure, what to do if you have been served, and just how to navigate your way through and around something that can become really, really financially devastating. All right. This week we've been hosting, the city of Chicago's been hosting the Democratic National Convention. It's been here. Yesterday was the final day. They called it the fourth quarter. Like Oprah Winfrey, I'm a registered independent. And so I have been paying attention. I paid attention to the RNC, and then I paid attention to the DNC. It's interesting because they're big pep rallies, right? And you just have to see two things happen. Some people determine which one resonates with them um, from a rah-rah standpoint. Um, then others of us are trying to really look at the issues and pinpoint what issues make more sense. I will say that there were a lot of issues that the Democratic Party brought forward that I had not seen the Republican Party bring forward, but those that the DNC brought forward were very impactful. And I think that that's where a lot of us that are independents are. It's our frustration with both parties. So we're like, look, I'm just going to vote my issues. And I think that there's probably a larger number of us in that bucket than what it may actually be calculated. Um, Me personally, there wasn't enough um, focus on the war in Palestine. I wanted to see more on that. I wanted to see more conversation about it. I wanted to see a little bit more balanced presentation on that, which I didn't see. I saw one key talking point on community lending for people in communities that want to open businesses, but there was not enough conversation around, and this has been with both parties, not enough conversation around how these policies will impact Black businesses. And I think sometimes the era is to talk about jobs, 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 but you have a very large contingency of our communities and of America that are unemployable. And being unemployable doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. It could be that you're a returning citizen and you can make more money in your business. It could be that you are really overqualified for most jobs that you would apply for, or most jobs that are available in your industry. And so your best bet is to either take a job where you're overqualified and you're going to be underpaid and then supplement it with a business, or just go into it with a business altogether. So there's a lot of different reasons. I just didn't see enough around that. I did hear Kamala talking about a community fund that would lend startup businesses money, but it just caused so many questions for me. One question I had was, who's going to distribute the funds? Is it the same institutions that are discriminating against us now? What is the criteria? Is it something that is accessible? So I wanted to know a little bit more about that. But it was very clear to me from a PR standpoint that they have Kamala bound to some really tight talking points. And I get the sense that she not dare deviate from those talking points. And so that was a little bit of a challenge for me. But I thought that the DNC was very well produced, much more entertaining than the RNC. I thought it was much more vibrant, and it did speak more to certain key points. There was a lot of conversation around women's rights and abortion, a lot of conversation around that. There was a lot of conversation around climate change, although the climate change pitch was making me ask a lot of questions too in my mind, because it's like, okay, we got climate change over here, and then we got these jobs connected to climate change, and then we have people seeking relief from what they believe is climate change issues that are impacting their economy. So it just had a lot of questions for me, but I was happy to see that was a heavy focus. There was a heavy focus on gun control and gun violence. I wanted to see more on police brutality. I wanted to hear more about what happened to the George Floyd bill, which I didn't hear from that. I think I saw Attorney Crump up there earlier this week, and he didn't address it either. It just seems like there was a lot of tight talking points, and people didn't go around it. But I wanted to hear more around police brutality. That's a big issue, especially in our community. And that George Floyd bill that protects us against hate crimes. Um, I wanted to hear more about that. Um, and also from a business standpoint, I wanted to hear about some of this antitrust stuff. There are a lot of antitrust violations happening as a result of the diminishment of DEI, and and so now you have a lot of Black businesses trying to get going, trying to open, and there's a lot of politics and a lot of antitrust happening. So I wanted to hear, more of her stance on antitrust and antitrust prevention, similar to the way she handled the mortgage industry when that all went down. So, but I know that the convention is not a place for that. But it just made me have a lot of questions. Um, but I will definitely say that the DNC was much more palatable than the RNC and better produced based on the limited issues that they both put forward. So um, with that, though, I'm very excited for Kamala as a Black woman of color, whatever you want to call it. She's a Black woman to me. I think it's interesting when you have this Black conversation. And I know a lot of that was stemmed from people who said that there was a point where maybe she didn't identify. I don't know how true that is, because I've never really seen her identify as anything other than Black. I've never seen evidence of that. Or maybe I just never saw her as anything other than Black. I think what's so interesting, though, is that she happens to be aware of her heritage, right? She knows that her mother is an Eastern Indian of Eastern Indian descent. And she knows that her father is Jamaican, of Jamaican descent, which makes him African, more than likely from the West Sub-Saharan Africa through the slave trade. So, but what's interesting for those of us who don't know our DNA, some of us have a mother or a grandmother that looks like her mother. And then some of us have another parent that looks like her father, but we don't have an identification. We're not able to say this person has this background and that person has that background. So we just go, we Black. But it's interesting that as soon as you can identify it, then we start going, oh, okay, well, yeah, I identify with this part of the culture or whatever. And that part is interesting to me too, because, Black is universal. And when you use the term Black, it connects you to Black people around the world. It doesn't limit you to just one continent, one country. We're universal. We come from the essence of triple darkness. And so I think Black is very appropriate, and it's not something that's offensive to me. It's actually very spiritual to me. So in addition to just feeling like there was a tight and strict talking point list for just about everyone this week, there's something very sinister happening. Something very dark and sinister that's behind all of it, that I think is interesting, and it is likely going to unfold soon. So that was some of my take on it. I've got a bunch of notes from the couple of events that I attended, and just in what I got a lot of downloads last night. I ended up cutting off the broadcast. We were doing a watch party my battery started dying, but I just was picking up so much, and I was like, I'm gonna get off of here. So I did though watch our sister's speech, and I thought she looked great. I thought for the talking points that she's given, I thought she delivered a great speech. She's a great orator. She's a great debater. I look forward to seeing her in the debates, and I'm just happy that I am happy that for a big job like that, we do have someone who is presenting a better image for us as Black women than what we have had in the public eye, um, especially since Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama rocks. Okay, she was absolutely amazing. I actually, of all the speeches the entire week, I would say I enjoyed hers the most. She was the most, in my opinion, magnetizing and classy, and she was very issues driven. I liked it. I liked it a lot. But of course, I know she's probably bound, but not bound as tightly as our sister Kamala. So, but shout out to her, and may Allah bless her and surround her and protect her. She is taking on a very serious job at a very serious time in our history. And I think we owe it to her to at least send our prayers out, and to just pray that she continues to fight to keep a direction that keeps us as Black people in the purview, with the understanding that I know we should all have, that there's only so much that can and will be done. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad already told us that we have to get up and do something for ourselves. He gave us a blueprint. He told us what to do. That is the formula. And at the same time, we have another parallel stream that's happening over here that, I just wish her the best of luck for. Anyway, I wanted to also talk about something, because I had a sister in a coaching session this week say something to me that I thought, and I always seek permission before I reach a subject, but I kept getting a bunch of downloads from this. But she said to me, she's a Muslim woman. She's married to a Muslim man, and she said, my husband is amazing. She said that her husband is an amazing protector. He takes care of her. She said that, she just gave him all kind of accolades. He's clean. He does this. He does that. She had this really long and beautiful list about her husband. She said, but the one thing that he is challenged with, and has been challenged with for a while, is his ability to make and manifest money. And she said, and I don't know what it is. And so I wanted to say this, and I have a very large Black male audience, primarily a lot of my brothers, a lot of FOI. Sometimes our brothers have an imbalance between the heart and the mind, and the life repair work that's happening with them through their example in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is so fast and so dynamic that, as it's like moving on a fast train. They begin to grab at and become attracted to what they most need in order to heal, or what they just most gravitate to. And sometimes they can be over masculine in their mind, and if they're blessed, like this brother, to have a wife who can bring that that heart balance, that feminine balance, that quantum energy balance to the relationship. And so my suggestion to her was, you guys got to work on doing some projects together so that you sort of balance each other out. Because if he's really over here in the cerebral, because, men look at what they can figure out, what they can do based on their resources, their intellectual capacity. There's not a lot of spookism or quantum or unseen reality work going on with them a lot of times. Whereas with us as women, we just kind of know a lot of times that things are going to work out, especially if we are blessed to be in a position like she is, where there's a man in the household. And so we're kind of, sometimes men will see us as emotional or spooky because we have a belief that is beyond the evidence that's in our face. And it's very quantum. It's on a wide and vast level. And so my suggestion to her was that since they are there together, they should work on some projects together, and perhaps that the balance of the extremes in their personality will really help to manifest the money that they're looking for. Because I say this oftentimes, and we have to remember that as a people, we are living under warlike conditions. Okay. And so as families, we have to understand that. As couples, we have to understand that. As friends, we have to understand that. And what does that mean? Equal opportunity just doesn't necessarily exist for us. So in the dynamics of our household, there may be some things that the woman can do that the man can't do. And I'm talking about in terms of outreach into the world. She may be able to get certain jobs that he can't get. He may be able to go into places that she can't or shouldn't go into. And same thing in families. If you got a family, you got a mother, father, children, there may be somebody in the family that's good at one thing and has a certain talent that they can bring to the table to help another family member. And then that family member in turn can, work on their business or their project and then help another family member. And so this type of circular support should be existing within our micro networks. It's just that oftentimes we are in these micro networks, but we're still functioning as those rugged individuals. And what she was dealing with is like, she's over here going to work, doing her thing. He's over here trying to do his thing. And in terms of there not being a coming together is where the challenge was in her situation. But that is true in our families, in our small networks, in our communities. We have to move ourselves away from this rugged individual type of thinking, because it may be difficult for our Black man who might be struggling with, not struggling, but exuding what is deeply masculine, that is oftentimes called toxic masculinity, which may not necessarily be toxic. It's just masculine. Some people are toxic, but a lot of them are not. It's just masculine, which people become afraid of because masculinity has been weaponized and mishandled. And so while that man may be developing and growing in that space, it may be difficult for him to go out into a world that doesn't necessarily respect and honor his deep masculinity. And so he needs a woman to help balance that. So if there's projects that the two can do together, that would be great. And the converse is true as well. Even in families, if it's brother, sister, I know me and my brother, we bounce things off of each other all the time and try to work together on things. Hey, what you doing? What you working on? Even with friends. Um, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us instructions. He told us, he said, unite and pool your resources. And there's no way around that. We're not going to escape that. So if you think that because you got a little opportunity, you're getting ready to just roll, and then once you start making money and things start flowing for you, you start dissing everybody else and just say, okay, no, now I'm on my own. There's no way around his instructions. He would not have told us that if that wasn't a necessary move that we needed to make. There's too much ground to be made up, and there's too many layers of trauma that we have to navigate through for us to be thinking that we can just all strike out here by ourselves and really make a difference. Now, can you strike out by yourself and just work your job every day and just, live within your means and just kind of be on that hamster wheel? Of course you can. But if you're pushing the envelope, if you're talking about making a difference in the community, if you're talking about introducing much needed goods and services in your community, if you're talking about changing the image of our people in the broader community and in our own community, then you're going to need some help. And if you're talking about owning a business, you definitely cannot grow and scale and expand by yourself. And even if you're an independent contractor, you're still going to need other people. You're going to need somebody to give you a contract. At the end of the day, you may need somebody to refer you. So moving away from rugged individualism and more towards pooling our resources is where we really, really need to be. There's no way around it. There's just no way around it. And so some of us are living in the house with somebody, and we're not congruent. We're not together. They over there doing their thing. We over here doing our thing. We passing like two ships in the night. We might coordinate for the children or coordinate for a few things that we got to do. But for the most part, we live two separate lives. There's no way around uniting and pooling your resources. We just got to stop it. This is one of the reasons why the financial trauma boot camp, in my opinion, is so helpful and so needed. We're going to do some spiritual exercises and go through some spiritual tools in the boot camp. We're going to talk about divorce and how to prevent that from being a financially devastating event, and what to do if you have been devastated by divorce. And we're going to deal with foreclosure. Foreclosure is one of the number one financially devastating events in our middle income or mid-American community. And so we're going to bring on Dr. Michael C. Grayson. He's going to talk about what to do if you're in pre-foreclosure, what to do if you've already been served. He's going to explain some things about the mortgage industry, because a lot of times we just get so happy just to go out there and buy a car. You ask us about the terms of our loan, how long it is, or what the interest rate is. Most of us don't know. We don't even know that about the cars we finance, nor do we know it about the houses that we're borrowing money to get. And so he's just going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about credit, what it really is, how to fix it, because a lot of us are in positions where we need help. We need to help fixing it. But I think the most impactful thing for us to do is to begin to peel back the onion, the layers of the onion, and those layers of financial trauma. And that's what we're attempting to do with these workshops. So there's a QR code here that you can use. We got a sponsor, so the price is a little bit lower. You can go back and listen to this video and you'll hear some of the benefits and what we think your key takeaways should be with the financial trauma boot camp. But it's just a time to dig in. And then we are really, really going to dig in and continue to dig in and work on our vibration, work on our thoughts, work on understanding how to manage our feelings, because it's how we feel that determines our vibration. And so we're going to work on how to manage that so that we vibrate at a different level. That will also help to prevent some of the financial devastation, because it's going to help us make better decisions. We take a pledge where we say, from now on, from this day forward, I'm going to face my problems head on. I am not going to lie. If a problem arises, I'm going to deal with it right then and there. And so that is going to help save us from a lot of financial trauma. So we talk about that. We're going to dig into that. And then once we dig into that, we'll go into the two top subjects, which is divorce and mortgages and foreclosures, with Dr. Michael C. Grayson. We're still waiting on our divorce coach, our divorce attorney, to confirm. So I haven't announced that name as of yet. But it's important that we know these things. It's important that we bring our children, because a lot of our children, especially for those of us that are Muslims, our children are graduating from college and then they start looking for a wife or a husband. And we tend to do that at a very young age, much younger than in the broader community. It's important that they understand these things, understanding how important it is that they choose wisely and they go into the situation wisely and follow the guidelines given to us by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which will help to prevent some of this devastation like divorce. And then if in the event that we find ourselves in a situation where we are going through a divorce, how do we deal with it? What happens? And then with all these crazy loans and stuff that are out here, a lot of people are facing foreclosure. They've been served. They don't know what to do. They lost their job. Some people's jobs never really came back in full capacity after the pandemic. A lot of people don't know that a lot of people are still out of work, or they're making less money, or something about their job has changed. Maybe they're working remotely now, and maybe the employee is foregoing some of the raises and some of the things that they have banked on when they initially bought the house. So those kind of things we're going to talk about. What kind of mortgages should you be looking at today? And then, if you are in trouble, we're going to give you some resources to help you save yourself and save your property. All right. Because the whole thing is we want to prevent some of this financial devastation that is rampant in our community. And that financial devastation is creating traumas generation after generation after generation. Many of you in the chat listening have gone through something that has negatively impacted you financially, that has caused trauma. And so we're going to talk about how to work with that, how to deal with that, how to prevent it, how to heal from it. Let me see. I see y'all in the chat. Let's see here. All right. I see Kiyana Muhammad says, Wa alaikum salam. Good morning, Mom. I see Sister Monica. She says, Assalamu alaikum and great Friday to all. Wa alaikum salam. Same to you, sis. Khadija Bilal is here and says, watching that DNC made me 100% sure I will not vote for Kamala or Trump. Ooh, okay. Some people said that it really made them. She's saying, I've heard that some people say watching it, they just said, I'm not voting. That's interesting. Interesting. How they address that. Let's see. Muhammad, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your last name. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Betty says, happy Friday, everyone. So yeah, Some people have had those reactions. Some people are still analyzing. Some people have made up their minds. It's interesting, but I do think that there are more people out here who are still undecided than what they're calculating. And I think that for the time between now and the election, our sister Kamala is going to have to work on those undecided people. That's going to be key. And people like myself, I got a lot of questions. So, but anyway, y'all. So happy Friday, y'all. Make sure you sign up. If you enjoy this, make sure you hit the super chat button, or better yet, give us a love offering. Go to SajdahEnterprises. Every little bit helps because we bring this content to you, and we are not charging market rates for it. Okay, so go to Cashapp, go to SajdahEnterprises, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, $100, $1,000, but give something and put yourself in a position where you're giving in exchange for when you receive something. It's important that we begin to make these networks go viral ourselves. Y'all know that these folks ain't going to spread the word on how we can get out from up under a lot of this financial trauma, because this financial trauma, these insecurities, is what a lot of companies capitalize on. And we'll talk a little bit about that as well in the next couple of weeks. So tonight, I hope you guys have your tickets to Bronzeville the musical. You can go to her social media pages. That's Sister Margaret Mahdi, or just Google Bronzeville the musical. And I don't know if her special, she had a special going 2 for $25, but that's tonight. And then next week, you all remember Sister Carmen. She was on the show. It's been 2 weeks now. 2 weeks, I think. That fashion show and awards show is next week. So we'll talk a little bit more about that next week. But look, you got to spend some money. You got to support the network. You got to support Sajdah House. You got to go to Financial Boot Camp. You got to go to Sister Margaret's play. You got to go to Sister Carmen's. You got to shop back black, buy black. Hey, these trillions of dollars got to go to work. We got to put these dollars to work. So, all right, family, may each and every one of you be blessed. I'm wishing each and every one of you more goodness, more love, more wealth, more peace than you've ever experienced or imagined. So with that, make sure you tune in tomorrow morning for Sajdah Morning Coffee Talk. We're going to chat some more. I'll share some more of my downloads from the weekend. We are getting to the point very soon, my people, where my schedule is going to fill up. So if you need a coaching session or you want some consulting from me, I would strongly suggest doing it now. Okay. Because very soon the schedule's going to close, and I may not be doing any individualized coaching like I'm doing now. So right now, while the schedule's open, schedule your session. If you schedule one, you get a follow-up session at no charge. But it's important to do it now. All right. All right. See you all tomorrow. Thank you. Love you. Love you. And happy Friday.